Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Shower.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for another lesson today.
Before we dive in, if you find our videos helpful, please consider subscribing.
Yes, hitting that subscribe button really supports us and helps us grow.
Today, we are going to talk about a topic that touches all of us deeply, procrastination.
But we're not just talking about being lazy, we're going deep into why we delay things.
Exactly. We'll explore the phrases you need to describe that heavy, sinking feeling when you just can't start.
Liam, be honest with me. As a professional writer, do you still procrastinate?
Lisa, I have a confession to make. Yesterday was a disaster.
A disaster? What happened? Did you miss a deadline?
No, but I spent 6 hours staring at a blank page on my screen.
6 hours. Wow, that is serious writer's block.
It wasn't just a block. I felt a genuine sense of dread every time I looked at the computer.
Dread? That's a strong word. Like fear?
Yes, a deep fear that whatever I wrote wouldn't be good enough. So I fled.
You fled? Where did you go?
Nowhere useful. I ended up organizing my digital photo folders from 2015.
That is highly specific and totally unproductive.
It was my way of escaping the pressure. I felt terrible afterward. Pure self-loathing.
I completely understand that feeling. Self-loathing is exactly the right word.
You feel that way too? But you always seem so on top of things.
Are you kidding? Last week, I had a huge design project due. I was terrified of starting it.
So what did you do?
I fell into the social media trap. I spent hours doom scrolling through Instagram.
Doom scrolling. That's when you endlessly scroll through bad news or other people's perfect lives, right?
Exactly. It made me feel even more anxious and inadequate, but I couldn't stop doing it.
It's like a paralysis, isn't it? You know you need to work, but your brain just refuses.
Yes, it feels like my brain is actively sabotaging me.
That's a great point. Procrastination isn't about laziness or poor time management.
It's not? Then what is it?
Psychologists say it's actually about emotional regulation, or rather the failure to regulate emotions.
So we avoid the task to avoid the negative feelings associated with it?
Precisely. The task makes us feel bored, incompetent, or anxious.
So our brain says, hey, let's watch funny cat videos instead. That feels good right now.
That's it. It's a desire for instant gratification to soothe our current stress.
It makes sense. We are prioritizing our present comfort over our future well-being.
We treat our future self like a stranger. Let future Liam deal with that problem.
Poor future Liam. He always gets the short end of the stick.
Another big factor is the perfectionism trap.
Oh, that's definitely me. If I can't do it perfectly, I don't want to do it at all.
The fear of failure is so daunting that it becomes paralyzing.
Paralyzing is the perfect description. You just freeze up.
We need ways to break this cycle of anxiety and avoidance.
Let's do a mini role play. Maybe we can act out that inner dialogue we have.
Good idea. I'll be the rational side of your brain, and you be the anxious procrastinator.
Okay, the scenario is, it's 10 a.m. and I need to start a complex report due tomorrow.
All right, Lisa, it's 10 a.m. Time to tackle that report. Let's open the file.
Just thinking about it makes my stomach hurt. It's too overwhelming. I need coffee first.
You've already had 2 coffees. You're just trying to put it off. Just open the document.
But what if I can't find the right data? What if my boss hates it? I should check my email one last time.
Stop. You are spiraling. We are going to use the 5-minute rule.
The 5-minute rule?
Yes. Commit to working on it for just 5 minutes. If it's terrible, you can stop.
Okay. 5 minutes doesn't sound too daunting. I can do 5 minutes.
Exactly. The goal isn't to finish it now. The goal is just to get started.
My rational brain is very bossy today.
Sometimes it needs to be. The hardest part is always the initial step.
That 5-minute rule is actually really helpful. It lowers the psychological bar.
It does. Often, once you start, the anxiety decreases and you keep going.
What about when you've already procrastinated and feel guilty?
That's the most important part. You have to practice self-compassion.
Self-compassion? Being kind to myself?
Yes, beating yourself up only adds more negative emotions, which leads to more procrastination.
So instead of saying, I'm an idiot, I should say, I messed up, but it's okay.
Let's try again.
Exactly. Forgive yourself for the time lost and focus on the next smallest step.
It's easier said than done, but I think that's the key.
It is. Remember, progress, not perfection.
I need to get that tattooed on my arm.
Or maybe just written on a sticky note on your monitor.
Good plan. It's less permanent if I procrastinate on getting the tattoo.
Speaking of permanent mistakes, let's talk about decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue? Is that when your brain gets tired of making choices?
Exactly. Every small decision we make uses up a little bit of our mental energy.
So by the time I have to decide how to start my project, my battery is empty?
Precisely. That's why I try to automate my mornings as much as possible.
Like wearing the same kind of clothes every day, like Steve Jobs?
A bit like that. I have the same tea in the same mug at the same time.
You really are a creature of habit, Liam.
It saves my willpower for the difficult writing tasks.
I think I waste all my willpower deciding what to have for breakfast.
That's a classic trap. You deplete your energy before you even sit down to work.
Deplete? That means to use up or exhaust a supply, right?
Right. If your mental fuel is depleted, you'll naturally reach for something easy, like social media.
This reminds me of my desk. It's always a messy disaster area.
I've seen pictures. It looks like a creative hurricane hit it.
I tell myself I'm a creative genius, but deep down, the clutter makes me anxious.
Clutter can definitely lead to more procrastination.
Because my eyes keep jumping from one unfinished thing to another?
Exactly. It's visual noise. Your brain is trying to process everything at once.
So a clean workspace equals a clean mind?
For many people, yes. I can't write a single word if there's a stray spoon on my desk.
A stray spoon? You are so sensitive, Liam.
It's true. It becomes a distraction that my brain uses as an excuse to stop.
I actually use cleaning as a way to procrastinate. We talked about productive procrastination earlier.
Right. I can't possibly design this logo until the spice rack is alphabetized.
Stop. How do you know my life so well?
Because we all share the same defense mechanisms.
Defense mechanisms? You mean our brain is trying to protect us from the work?
Yes, it's protecting us from the pain of potential failure or boredom.
But the guilt of not doing the work is much more painful in the long run.
That's the procrastination paradox. We choose a small comfort now for a huge stress later.
I had a client project last month where I almost hit a wall.
Hit a wall? You mean you couldn't make any more progress?
Yeah, I had overthought the design so much that I couldn't even pick a color.
Analysis paralysis. That's a very common form of procrastination.
When you have too many options, you end up choosing none.
Exactly. You're so afraid of making the wrong choice that you make no choice.
I spent 3 days looking at different shades of off-white.
3 days? That's not design, Lisa. That's a rabbit hole.
I know. I was nitpicking every tiny detail to avoid the big picture.
Nitpicking is focusing on small, unimportant errors. Writers do it too.
Do you spend hours looking for the perfect word?
Every single day. I'll change a the to an and then change it back again.
Stop. We are both masters of time wasting, aren't we?
Professional time wasters. But we have to learn to embrace the mess.
Embrace the mess? You mean accept that the first draft will be bad?
Yes. In writing, we call it a vomit draft.
Gross. But I get the point. Just get everything out on paper.
Exactly. You can't edit a blank page. You need something to work with.
I guess that's the same for design. I should just make a quick and dirty sketch.
Quick and dirty is a great phrase for something done fast, even if it's not perfect.
It takes the pressure off. This isn't the final version, it's just a test.
Another strategy I use is time blocking. Do you do that?
I try, but my blocks always seem to slide.
Slide? You mean you don't stick to the schedule?
I'll say I'll work from 9 to 11, but then at 9:15 I'm still checking TikTok.
That's why you need to buffer your time.
Buffer? Like a cushion or extra space?
Exactly. Give yourself 10 minutes between tasks to just breathe and reset.
I usually use those 10 minutes to spiral into more procrastination.
Then we need to talk about environment design.
Like changing where I work?
Yes. If you always procrastinate on your sofa, your brain associates the sofa with lazy time.
That makes sense. I should probably stop working in my pajamas too.
It's a psychological cue. Getting dressed tells your brain it's work time.
I've heard some people even put on shoes to work from home.
It sounds silly, but it works. It creates a professional mindset.
I'll try that tomorrow. Sneakers and a report. No more pajamas.
Have you heard the expression, eat the frog?
Eat the frog? That sounds disgusting. Why would I do that?
It's a famous quote by Mark Twain.
What did Mark say?
He said if you eat a live frog first thing in the morning, nothing worse will happen to you all day.
So the frog is the most difficult task on my to-do list?
Exactly. Do the thing you dread the most first.
But I usually save the frog for 11 p.m.
That's why you're burning the midnight oil and feeling stressed.
If I eat the frog at 9 a.m., I can enjoy the rest of my day guilt-free.
Guilt-free. That is a wonderful feeling, isn't it?
It's the best. The coffee tastes better when the work is done.
But what if the frog is too big to swallow in one go?
Then I should break it down into bite-sized pieces, like you said.
Exactly. Don't eat the whole frog, just eat one leg first.
Okay, this metaphor is getting a bit weird, but I get it.
Small wins lead to momentum.
Momentum is that feeling when you finally get moving and it's hard to stop.
Once you have momentum, you're no longer fighting yourself.
I love that feeling. It's like being in the zone or in a flow state.
Flow is the ultimate enemy of procrastination.
When you're in flow, you lose track of time, right?
Yes, you're so absorbed in the task that everything else disappears.
I get that when I'm choosing colors sometimes. I look up and it's dark outside.
That's wonderful. We just need to find a way to get into that state on purpose.
Instead of waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning.
Exactly. Amateurs wait for inspiration. The rest of us just get to work.
Ouch, that's a bit harsh, Liam.
Harsh but true. Professionalism is doing the work even when you don't feel like it.
I think I've been coddling myself too much.
Coddling? You mean being too soft or overprotective of yourself?
Yeah. Oh, poor Lisa, you're too tired to work. Go watch Netflix.
We need to find the balance between self-compassion and discipline.
Discipline is a word that always makes me want to run away.
Think of it as freedom instead. Discipline gives you the freedom to relax later.
That's a very intellectual way of looking at it, Liam. Typical writer.
I try. But really, if I'm disciplined in the morning, I can enjoy my tea in the afternoon.
Without that nagging voice in the back of your head.
Exactly. That nagging voice is the ghost of tasks unfinished.
I have a whole haunted house of unfinished tasks in my head.
Then it's time for some exorcism. Let's clear them out.
One frog at a time.
Let's talk about external accountability. Does that help you?
You mean having someone else check up on me?
Yes, like a study buddy or an accountability partner.
It definitely helps. If I know you're waiting for my draft, I'll work harder.
Because you don't want to let me down?
Exactly. Social pressure can be a double-edged sword, but it's effective.
Double-edged sword. It has both good and bad effects.
Right. It can cause stress, but it also provides the nudge I need.
Sometimes we all need a little nudge to get off the sofa.
Or a shove.
I'll give you a gentle shove next time you're doom scrolling.
Deal. And I'll remind you to stop organizing your tea when you should be writing.
It's a deal. We're in this struggle together.
It's comforting to know that even intellectual writers struggle with this.
We are all human, Lisa. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
We just have to rewire them for long-term happiness.
One small choice at a time.
Speaking of choices, I think I've made a lot of poor choices with my phone habits.
The smartphone is the ultimate procrastination machine.
It really is. It's designed to be addictive.
Those red notification dots are like digital candy for our brains.
I've started putting my phone in Do Not Disturb mode.
That's a great start. I actually put mine in a different room entirely.
In another room? What if there's an emergency?
Most emergencies can wait for 60 minutes.
You're right. I'm just using that as an excuse to keep it near me.
We are very good at rationalizing our bad habits.
Rationalizing is making excuses that sound logical, but aren't.
I need my phone for research is my favorite lie to myself.
And then you end up on Wikipedia reading about ancient Roman plumbing.
Exactly, it's a slippery slope.
Slippery slope is when one small action leads to a series of worse actions.
1 click leads to 10 clicks, which leads to 2 hours gone.
We need to set boundaries with our technology.
Boundaries are essential. I will not check my phone until I finish this paragraph.
I'll try, I will not check Instagram until I finish this sketch.
I believe in you, Lisa. You have the potential to be incredibly productive.
Thanks, Liam. I just need to get out of my own way.
Get out of your own way.
That's the best advice anyone can give.
We are often our own worst enemies.
But we can also be our own best cheerleaders.
I'm going to go cheer myself on to finish my laundry tonight.
See? You're already tackling the boring tasks.
It's a start. No more faffing around.
No more dilly-dallying. Let's get to it.
Wait, before we finish this part, let's talk about imposter syndrome again.
The feeling that you're a fraud and everyone will find out.
Does that make you procrastinate even more?
Absolutely. If I don't finish the book, no one can say it's bad.
So, procrastination is a shield for our ego.
Precisely. It's a way to protect our self-esteem.
If I fail, it's not because I'm not talented, it's because I didn't try.
That is a very dangerous way of thinking, but very common.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't try, you will fail.
We have to be brave enough to fail forward.
Fail forward? You mean learn from your mistakes?
Yes, every bad draft is a step closer to a good one.
I need to remember that when I'm staring at a blank canvas.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And that step might be clunky and awkward.
Clunky is a great word for something that doesn't move smoothly.
My first sketches are always clunky. They look like a child drew them. And that's okay.
Even Picasso had to start somewhere.
I don't think Picasso ever doom-scrolled on Instagram, though.
Probably not. He was too busy being Picasso.
Maybe if I put my phone away, I can be Lisa, the designer.
I have no doubt about that.
Okay, I'm feeling motivated now. Let's keep this momentum going.
Let's look at a few more idioms related to time and work.
How about burning the candle at both ends?
That means working too hard, early in the morning and late at night.
I do that a lot because of my procrastination during the day.
It leads to burnout. We should avoid that.
Burnout is when you are physically and mentally exhausted.
It's better to work steadily than to work in bursts of panic.
Slow and steady wins the race, like the tortoise and the hare.
Exactly. Consistency is king.
Consistency is my weakness, but I'm working on it.
We all are, Lisa. It's a lifelong process.
At least we have each other to keep us on track.
Keep us on track means to make sure we stay focused on our goals.
I'm definitely on track to finish this script with you.
We're doing great. Let's power through the next section.
Power through means to continue with determination, right?
Exactly. Even when you're tired, you keep going.
I'm ready. No more stalling.
Stalling is another word for delaying or stopping progress.
I'm firing on all cylinders now.
Firing on all cylinders. You're working at full strength?
You bet. My creative engines are roaring.
Then let's not waste this energy.
Let's dive deeper into the social aspect of procrastination.
You mean how we compare ourselves to others online?
Yeah, highlight reels versus behind the scenes.
Highlight reels are the best moments of someone's life that they show on social media.
And behind the scenes is the messy reality we all live in.
We compare our messy reality to their perfect highlights and feel bad.
And that bad feeling makes us want to avoid our own work.
It's a vicious cycle.
A vicious cycle is a sequence of events where each problem creates another.
We have to break the chain.
How? By unplugging?
Unplugging or just being mindful of what we consume.
I need a digital detox this weekend.
A digital detox sounds like a great idea for everyone.
No phone, no laptop, just books and tea.
That sounds like my perfect Sunday.
It sounds peaceful, but also a little scary to me.
Fear of missing out, or FOMO.
Exactly. What if something viral happens while I'm offline?
The world will still be there on Monday, Lisa.
I know. My ego just likes to feel important.
We are all addicted to relevance.
That's a deep thought for a Tuesday, Liam.
I'm full of them today.
Well, let's pivot back to some practical English.
Good idea. How about the phrase, in the long run?
In the long run means over a long period of time.
Procrastination feels good now, but it's harmful in the long run.
And discipline feels hard now, but it's beneficial in the long run.
You've got it. It's all about delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification is the opposite of instant gratification.
It's the ability to wait for a bigger reward later.
Like a successful career instead of 5 more minutes of TikTok.
Exactly. It's a muscle you have to train.
My delayed gratification muscle is a bit flabby.
Flabby? You mean weak and out of shape?
Yeah, it needs a workout.
Every time you choose work over a distraction, you're doing a rep.
Doing a rep like in the gym, one repetition of an exercise?
Exactly. Each choice makes the muscles stronger.
Okay, I'm pumping iron for my brain now.
I love your enthusiasm, Lisa.
I'm fired up. Let's keep going.
You know, Lisa, we talk a lot about the now, but have you heard of the planning fallacy?
The planning fallacy? Is that when I think I can clean my whole house in 10 minutes?
Exactly. It's our tendency to underestimate how much time we need for a task.
I do that every single day. I think a project will take 2 hours, but it takes 10.
We are eternal optimists when it comes to our own productivity.
Eternal optimists? We always believe the best case scenario will happen?
Right. We ignore past experiences where we failed to meet our own deadlines.
It's like I have amnesia for all the times I stayed up until 4 a.m.
Amnesia is a great way to put it. We forget the pain once it's over.
This reminds me of my biggest fail back in college.
Oh, do tell. I love a good cautionary tale.
A cautionary tale? You mean a story that gives a warning to others?
Yes, please, warn us with your past mistakes, Lisa.
I had a final portfolio due. It was 50% of my grade. I had 3 months to do it.
3 months is a generous time frame.
Time frame is the period of time during which something happens, right?
Correct. So what did you do with those 3 months?
For the first 2 months, I did market research, which means I looked at Pinterest.
The classic research trap. It feels like work, but it's just inspiration.
Exactly. I told myself I was percolating ideas.
Percolating, like coffee, letting an idea develop slowly?
Yes, but I percolated so long that I had only 1 week left for the actual design.
1 week for 50% of your grade? That's living on the edge.
It was terrifying. I didn't sleep for 3 days straight.
That sounds grueling. Did you finish it?
I did, but the work was sloppy. I knew I could have done so much better.
Sloppy means careless or not as good as it should be.
The grade was okay, but the self-disappointment stayed with me for years.
That's the real cost of procrastination. It's not just the grade, it's the stolen potential.
Stolen potential. That's a heavy thought, Liam.
It's true. Every time we procrastinate, we are stealing from our future success.
I felt like a shambles for weeks after that.
Shambles? That's a very British word. It means a state of total disorder.
I'm picking up your slang, Liam.
I was a total shambles.
I had a similar experience with my first book contract.
The intellectual Liam struggled with a book?
I struggled is an understatement. I almost lost the contract.
No way. What happened?
I was so afraid of the sophomore slump.
Sophomore slump? That's when your second work isn't as good as your first?
Exactly. My first articles were successful, so the pressure for the book was immense.
So you just stopped writing?
I didn't just stop. I became obsessed with the history of typewriter ribbons.
Typewriter ribbons. Liam, that is so niche.
Niche means something very specific that only a few people care about.
You were using niche history as a smokescreen for your fear.
A smokescreen. What a perfect idiom. I was hiding my fear behind useless facts.
How did you snap out of it?
My editor gave me a hard deadline and told me, Liam, a bad book can be fixed, but a blank page cannot.
That is gold. A blank page is the only thing you can't improve.
It changed my perspective. I realized I was being self-indulgent with my perfectionism.
Self-indulgent, like you were pampering your own ego?
Yes, I was more worried about looking smart than being useful.
I think that's a revelation for many people. Perfectionism is often just vanity.
Vanity? That's a bold claim, Lisa, but you might be right.
We want to look perfect, so we don't risk showing our true messy selves.
It's a defense mechanism we mentioned before.
I've been doing something lately called revenge bedtime procrastination.
Revenge bedtime procrastination. That sounds like a movie title.
It's actually very common. It's when you stay up late because you feel you don't have autonomy during the day.
Autonomy? You mean control or independence?
Right. If my day is full of work and chores, I steal time from sleep just to feel like me.
So you're taking revenge on your busy schedule by staying up.
Exactly. I'll be exhausted, but I'll stay up until 2 a.m. watching pointless videos.
That's a vicious cycle, because then you're too tired to work the next day.
And being tired makes me procrastinate more. It's a downward spiral.
To break that, you need to prioritize your rest as much as your work.
But sleep feels like giving up my free time.
Think of sleep as fueling your future autonomy.
You're always so logical, Liam. It's almost annoying. I try.
But really, if you're sleep deprived, your prefrontal cortex stops working.
The prefrontal cortex? Is that the CEO of the brain?
Exactly. It's the part responsible for decision-making and impulse control.
So when I'm tired, the CEO goes home and the child takes over?
That is a perfect analogy. The child just wants candy and YouTube.
My inner child is very loud after midnight.
We have to learn to reparent ourselves sometimes.
Reparent? Like being the strict but kind adult for our own brain?
Yes. Lisa, I know you want to watch another video, but it's time for bed because I love you and want you to be happy tomorrow.
That sounds wholesome. I'll try talking to myself like that.
Wholesome is a great word for something that is good for your soul and health.
It's better than scolding myself. Lisa, you're so lazy. Go to sleep.
Scolding just creates shame, and shame is the gasoline of procrastination.
Shame is the gasoline. You're on fire with the metaphors today, Liam.
I'm just in the zone, I guess.
Speaking of shame, have you heard of productive procrastination?
You mean when we do useful things to avoid the vital things?
Yes, like when I declutter my inbox instead of designing a client's website.
An inbox is a bottomless pit of minor tasks.
Bottomless pit? Something that never ends and consumes everything?
Exactly. It gives you a false sense of accomplishment.
I feel so productive because I answered 50 emails, but the big project hasn't moved.
That's busy work. It's the enemy of deep work.
Deep work. That's a concept by Cal Newport, right?
Yes, it's the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task.
Most of us have forgotten how to do deep work.
We are addicted to quick hits of dopamine from notifications.
I feel like my attention span has shrunk over the years.
Shrunk? Like a sweater in a hot dryer?
Yes. I used to read whole books in one sitting. Now I can barely finish a long article.
We have to train our attention like a muscle.
How do we do that? Meditation?
Meditation helps, but also just monotasking.
Monotasking? Doing only one thing at a time?
Yes. No music, no phone, no extra tabs open in your browser.
That sounds extreme, Liam. No music?
For deep work, silence or white noise is usually better.
I'll try it. I usually have 20 tabs open and 3 different playlists going.
No wonder your CEO is overwhelmed.
He's not just overwhelmed, he's resigned.
Resigned? He's given up and left the building?
Pretty much. He's on a beach somewhere while the inner child runs the company.
We need to lure him back with a clear plan.
A clear plan like a to-do list?
But not just a regular list, a prioritized list.
Prioritized. What is the one thing that makes everything else easier?
That's the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule.
Right. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts.
We usually spend 80% of our time on the 20% that doesn't matter.
Like tweaking fonts for 3 hours?
Exactly. We have to identify the 20% that actually moves the needle.
Moves the needle? Like on a gauge or a speedometer?
Yes, it means to make a significant difference or progress.
I need to focus on the needle movers and delegate the rest.
Delegate, giving the task to someone else.
Or just delete it. Some things don't actually need to be done.
That's the ultimate productivity hack, elimination.
I have a lot of shoulds in my life that I could probably eliminate.
I should learn French, I should bake more, I should be a better runner.
Those shoulds create a lot of mental clutter.
They are ghost tasks. They take up energy even if you aren't doing them.
I'm going to evict those ghosts from my brain.
Evict? To legally force someone to leave a property?
Yes, my brain is prime real estate, and I'm not letting shoulds live there for free.
Prime real estate. That's a very American way of putting it. I love it.
We take our property seriously.
Let's talk about accountability one more time. It's so crucial.
Crucial means extremely important or vital.
I've started using an accountability coach.
A real person or an app?
A real person. We meet for 15 minutes every Monday to review my goals.
Does it make you feel guilty if you haven't done the work?
Not exactly guilty, but it makes the consequences feel more real.
Because someone is watching you?
Yes, we are social animals. We care more about what others think than what we think of ourselves.
It's a bit sad, but it's true. I'll work for a client more than I'll work for me.
We can hawk that social nature by announcing our goals.
I'm going to finish my website by Friday. Like that?
Exactly. Public commitment is a powerful motivator.
But what if I fail? Then everyone knows.
That's the stakes. Without stakes, there is no urgency.
Stakes? Like what you bet in a game?
Yes, the potential loss. If there's nothing to lose, your brain won't prioritize the task.
I need to raise the stakes for my personal projects.
Maybe you should make a bet with a friend.
If I don't finish this, I have to buy you a fancy dinner.
That would incentivize me to help you.
You'd probably sabotage my work just to get the dinner.
I would never. Well, maybe for a very nice steak.
I'll keep that in mind.
Let's look at some British idioms for being busy and productive.
I know flat out. Like, I'm working flat out.
Yes, flat out means as fast or as hard as possible.
What about busy as a bee?
A bit cliche, but still used. We also say like a one-armed paper hanger.
A one-armed paper hanger? That sounds chaotic.
It means you're extremely busy and probably a bit stressed.
I feel like a one-armed paper hanger every Monday morning.
We also say putting your shoulder to the wheel.
That sounds like hard physical labor.
It means to start working hard on a difficult task.
I'm putting my shoulder to the wheel for this English shower channel.
And it shows. Our listeners appreciate your dedication.
Dedication is the quality of being committed to a task or purpose.
You have plenty of that, Lisa. You just need to manage your energy better.
Manage energy, not time. I've heard that before.
Time is finite, but energy can be renewed.
How do you renew your energy, Liam?
A good brisk walk in the park, a cup of Earl Grey, and silence.
My energy comes from people and loud music.
We are opposites in that regard, an extrovert versus an introvert.
But we both procrastinate. It's the great equalizer.
The great equalizer? Something that makes everyone equal?
Exactly. No matter how smart or successful you are, you still struggle with this.
It's a human condition. We just have to learn to navigate it.
Navigate like a ship through a stormy sea?
Yes, the storm is our emotions, and the ship is our work.
I'm ready to be the captain of my ship again.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Let's talk about forgiveness again. It's so underrated.
Underrated means something is better than people realize.
We think being hard on ourselves is the only way to improve.
But self-criticism often leads to a shame spiral.
And the shame spiral leads back to the sofa and Netflix.
Self-forgiveness is the exit ramp from that spiral.
Exit ramp, like on a highway?
Yes, it's your way out. I wasted the morning, but I can still win the afternoon.
Win the afternoon. I love that mindset.
Don't let a bad start ruin the whole day.
I usually think, well, the day is already ruined. I'll just start tomorrow.
That's all or nothing thinking. It's very destructive.
All or nothing. If it's not perfect, it's a failure.
We have to embrace the middle ground.
Done is better than perfect.
Exactly. A mediocre finished project is better than a perfect unfinished one.
Mediocre means average or not very good.
Even a mediocre effort builds a habit.
And habits are the foundation of success.
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
That's a quote to live by.
Let's wrap up this section with a thought about meaning.
Meaning? You mean why we do what we do?
Yes, if your work has purpose, it's much harder to procrastinate.
When I'm designing for a cause I care about, I never dilly-dally.
Connection to the outcome is a powerful antidote to avoidance.
Antidote? A medicine that neutralizes a poison?
Precisely. Purpose is the antidote to the poison of procrastination.
I'm going to find my purpose in this report tonight.
This report will help my team succeed.
This report will make me a more reliable professional.
There you go. You're reframing the task.
Reframing, changing the way I look at something.
It's not a chore, it's a contribution.
You're a genius, Liam, or just a very wise writer.
I've just had a lot of practice failing and trying again.
That's the best kind of wisdom.
Speaking of being wise, we haven't touched on the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect? That sounds like a character from a spy movie.
Not quite. It's a psychological phenomenon where our brain remembers uncompleted tasks better than completed ones.
So that's why my to-do list haunts my dreams?
Exactly. Your brain keeps pinging you because the loop is still open.
It's like having 100 browser tabs open in my head.
Precisely. And that mental load makes us even more tired and likely to procrastinate.
How do we close the loops without actually finishing everything right now?
Research says that just making a plan to finish the task later can satisfy the brain.
So writing it down in a calendar actually quiets the brain?
Yes, it tells your brain, I haven't forgotten, I have a specific time to deal with this.
I need to do that more. I usually just store everything in my head.
Storing things in your head is a recipe for anxiety.
It really is. I feel like my brain is clogged.
Let's talk about the what the hell effect. Have you heard of that?
That sounds like my life motto. What is it?
It's when you make one small mistake and then you say, what the hell, I already ruined it, and give up completely.
Like when I eat one cookie and then decide to eat the whole box?
Exactly. Or when you check Instagram for 5 minutes and then decide to scroll for 2 hours because the day is wasted.
Oh, I am a repeat offender of the what the hell effect.
We have to realize that stumbling doesn't mean you have to fall off the cliff.
Stumbling versus falling off the cliff. I like that comparison.
If you drop your phone, you don't say, what the hell, and smash it with a hammer, do you?
No, of course not. I pick it up and hope it's not broken.
We should treat our time the same way. If you waste 10 minutes, just pick it up and move on.
I've started using the Pomodoro technique to help with that.
Ah, the tomato timer. 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break.
It makes the work feel contained. I know there's an end in sight.
An end in sight. That makes a huge difference for daunting tasks.
The only problem is when my 5-minute break turns into a 50-minute break.
That's where discipline comes back in. You have to honor the timer.
I need to treat the timer like a strict coach.
Lisa, get back to work. The tomato has spoken.
Exactly. It's a very persuasive vegetable.
Let's talk about environment design again. Have you tried phone jails?
Phone jails? You mean those plastic boxes with a lock?
Yes. You put your phone in, set the timer for 2 hours, and you cannot get it out.
That sounds terrifying and brilliant at the same time.
It removes the option of procrastinating on your phone.
We have to outsmart our own laziness.
Outsmarting yourself is the secret to high productivity.
I've also heard of temptation bundling. Do you know that one?
Is that when you only allow yourself to do something fun while doing something boring?
Yes, like I can only listen to my favorite podcast while I'm doing the dishes.
Or I can only have my favorite tea while I'm writing my report.
It makes the boring task feel like a reward.
I'm going to bundle my boring expense reports with a fancy dark chocolate.
See, you're learning from me now, Liam.
We are a great team. We're balancing each other out.
Before we wrap up the main topic, let's talk about identity.
Identity? You mean how we label ourselves?
Yeah, if I keep saying I'm a procrastinator, I'll keep acting like one.
Labels can be self-fulfilling prophecies, right?
Exactly. We need to start saying, I am the kind of person who gets things done early.
I am a person who respects my future self.
It sounds cheesy, but it really changes your mindset.
Cheesy but effective. Most good advice is a bit cheesy.
I'm going to rebrand myself as Lisa the Finisher.
Lisa the Finisher. I love it. It sounds like a superhero name.
Watch out, world. Lisa the Finisher is coming for those reports.
And I'll be Liam the Consistent. Not as exciting, but very reliable.
Reliable is good, Liam. We need reliable people in the world.
So how are you feeling about your procrastination now, Lisa?
I feel empowered. I have the tools and the vocabulary to fight it.
That's the goal of English Shower, to give you the words for your real life.
It's not just about grammar. It's about growth.
Growth is a lifelong journey. We're all works in progress.
Work in progress. I'm going to remember that when I make a mistake.
Good. Now, should we recap what we've learned today?
Yes, let's do a review of all these great phrases and concepts.
All right, let's go through them. First, we talked about procrastination, which is the act of putting things off.
We mentioned dilly-dallying in American English and faffing around in British English.
We also discussed dread and self-loathing, which are those negative emotions that cause us to avoid work.
Don't forget doom scrolling, which is that endless scrolling on your phone to escape reality.
We went deep into emotional regulation. Procrastination is a failure to manage your feelings.
And we talked about instant gratification, wanting to feel good right now instead of later.
We explored the 11th hour, meaning the very last minute.
And burning the midnight oil, which means working late into the night.
Then we looked at strategies like eat the frog, doing the hardest task first.
And breaking things down into bite-sized pieces so they feel less daunting.
We mentioned the 5-minute rule to get the ball rolling.
And self-compassion, being kind to yourself when you fail.
We learned about the Zeigarnik effect, how unfinished tasks haunt your brain.
And the planning fallacy, our unrealistic optimism about how long things take.
We used the phrase hit a wall when you can't make progress anymore.
And moving the needle for tasks that make a significant difference.
We talked about deep work and monotasking versus busy work.
And finally, the what the hell effect, not giving up after one small stumble.
That is a ton of vocabulary. I hope everyone took some notes.
If not, you can always rewatch this video. It's a great way to reinforce your learning.
Reinforce means to strengthen your knowledge.
I feel like my brain is stronger already.
I'm glad to hear it. You did a great job today, Lisa.
Thanks, Liam. You too. Your wisdom was very inspiring.
Well, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Before we go, we have a small request for our listeners.
Yes, if you found this lesson valuable, please give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Hit that like button right now. It really helps the YouTube algorithm.
And we want to hear from you. What is your biggest struggle with procrastination?
Yes, tell us in the comments below. Do you faff around or dilly-dally?
Or maybe you have a secret tip for eating the frog. Share it with the community.
We read all your comments, and they motivate us to keep going.
Also, if there's a topic you want us to talk about next, let us know.
We are here to serve you and help your English journey.
Don't forget to share this video with a friend who might be struggling with their to-do list.
Yes, let's help everyone get the ball rolling together.
Thank you so much for watching English Shower today.
We really appreciate your time and your attention.
Remember, done is better than perfect. Just get started on something small today.
You've got this. We believe in you.
Until next time, I'm Liam.
And I'm Lisa.
Keep practicing and stay on track.
Bye, everyone. See you in the next video.
Goodbye.